every time I start this thing, I say good morning, even though it is not morning for hardly anyone. To those people who live in the colonized state of Hawaii, good morning. Thank you so much for keeping at it, and also for kicking out people who didn't pass a COVID test. Good work, good on you, Hawaii.
Wow, we're getting real political on this this episode. Like,
it is time for the Nerd Log. If you're watching live, it's segment 2. If you're watching on YouTube, that doesn't mean anything. Maybe click the link in the description to the segment we just did on regex in queries, which was super fun. Thank you, Daniel.
I very aggressively
I was almost fumbling it. I was almost like, we do you pattern.
Do you not remember you almost? Wait, do you not remember us planning the Regex Olympics on our Twitch channel of you versus Ashton with Battle Galactica music?
I mean, can we get like a ringer in there for me to be better than though? That would be my question. Like, can we get like a bit project like person who's coding?
No, you can't compete with high school students.
You gotta be like, you suck. Okay. Forget to range. You're trash. You didn't check for your case sensitive. You're trash. You're garbage. Let's go ahead and that'll be.
I still feel like they might beat you. Honestly, there's some really smarty pants in our work. But anyways, let's get into today's Nerd Log though.
Hi Brian. Talk about our segment. We've got Brian here. I think this is Brian. This is appearance 3 on Nerd Log.
I think 2, but who's counting?
Who's counting?
Not you.
Who's counting?
Not you.
Can we get maybe 2 steps of zoom in and enhance on the old New Relic interface here?
Sure. I like a little zap.
You mean the very shiny new interface, right, Nika? Because we love New Relic 1.
Like at that level? One more?
One more. Give me one more. Hit me again.
Hit me. There you go. There's 2 hits.
All right. Deal or bust. We're feeling good. Okay. All right.
So we have the large font books at the library here. We're good to go.
Yeah. Always the thing, because you don't get full pixels on Twitch, and we want our video frame and everything. So we have to make do. But I'm seeing it great. So what are we talking about, Brian? What's going on here?
So what we're talking about is the new way, the direction we're heading for how to configure alerts or applied intelligence incident detection, as we'll be calling it in the future. But the new direction we're having everybody go toward when they want to create new alert conditions, and how we're integrating that experience throughout the New Relic 1 product and experience. Primarily, it used to be that you had to go into the alerts and AI section to separately sort of go into that silo and create your alert configurations. We're moving away from that model altogether with New Relic 1, right? And that's what we're talking about, the direction we're heading and what's here now. And we're going to do some walkthroughs.
And we're seeing are we going to be doing some smart stuff, some anomaly detection stuff, or is this sort of just a better way to set up sort of manual thresholds and other alerting stuff?
Well, my pre-plug here is to go watch my Future Stack presentation. Set some time aside. I got a little wordy. It's supposed to be 20 minutes. It was like 40 minutes.
Wow. I went back and forth. After filming my Future Stack segment, I went back and forth because we were like 21 minutes, 30 seconds. And I was like, are we going to be able to keep that minute 30 in there? And you just went for it. You just went for the gold.
If you're going to blow a hole through a door, make a big big hole, right?
Exactly.
So
I don't think it's a hole. It'd just be like a giant gap in the wall.
Yes, it's a void
shaped hole.
Exactly.
It's the hole that's shaped like that with the arm.
which by definition is large. It's a large hole by definition. Yeah. But it's entitled AI Ops, or observability for everybody, because the idea is that you have, if you're a large organization, especially, you have many teams with various levels of skill sets and various levels of time and bandwidth to implement enough, monitoring detection work to allow you to take advantage of all of our new incident response capabilities, right? A lot of times the critical moment is about troubleshooting. When you are told there's a problem, how do you come in and start troubleshooting? How do we bring the full power of New Relic to that moment, right? That first landing page part of your journey for troubleshooting. And But if you don't have any sort of detection configured, you can't participate in that. So what we're really saying is there is a spectrum of types of detection. The far left, you configure nothing, and we'll think of those as being anomalies. And the far right, you specify specific thresholds, right? The old school static thresholding, right? Right now, we think of that as incident detection, but really the direction we're heading is it doesn't matter, right? It is you set up a detector to watch your signals, to watch for when weird things happen, and you can specify how you can determine your level of specificity, how much involvement you want to have, right? And therefore, you can say what priority level do you want that to be. And that's the direction we're heading, where the idea of an anomaly versus a static threshold kind of less relevant. You bring what's comfortable, get in the game, make sure everybody can start somewhere.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because are we going to pass the point when the distinction between a pre-configured threshold that's something that sort of we knew ahead of time, something to worry about, and a point where we just say, hey, we've seen enough anomalies that this is worth a notification. When are we going to break down that barrier? I think we might be a little while away, but we shall see. I mean, this isn't AI driving a fuel tanker truck, right? This is just, hey, I got a ping on my phone that doesn't make a lot of sense, but it is interesting to think about.
Yeah, we're not going to go into that too much today about the fact that the future is here now. You can do those things now if you're using our incident intelligence feature set. And another sneak peek you'll be seeing throughout the rest of this year, we'll be merging those experiences, right? So toward the end of the year, an anomaly event, an incident event, they all get merged into an issue. And there you can specify whether you want to be notified about that issue or not based on the priority level. And as you gain more confidence about our predictions, or you've tuned those anomalies down a little bit more, where you have more confidence, then you can choose to be alerted on them. So we're heading in that direction where it all comes together.
So you're saying that New Relic is reinventing the future?
Well, you said
it. Sounds good.
We are working on the future right now, and it's imminent and rolling out soon. And what we're talking about today is how we're moving in the creation part into the front of that process. And we'll talk about this feature we've called baselines in the past, baseline alert configurations. And I think of those as being more in the area of anomaly detection, as we're trying to ask you less questions and observe when the signals, behave in an abnormal fashion, right? So trying to make sure we can provide anomaly detection for all of the things, and we're sort of coming at it from two different directions. Again, you'll see more of that here very soon. But one thing I'll talk about that in the flow here.
That sounds awesome. So is there a demo? Because I'd love to see how this all works.
Let's see that happen.
Let's see it happen.
I didn't want to step on your flow there.
I'm gonna do Adam lives in theory. We want to see it in real life. We want to see that.
So starting here at the old New Relic 1 homepage, right, or landing page. Traditionally, you would have started into alerts and AI. You'd have logged into it. You'd have gone down to policies, create a policy, pick your policy, go into alert condition, and then you have to recreate that place you were in the product, right? And that's cumbersome, and people abort at that point in time, and therefore are not really taking advantage of things. So I'm going to walk you through a few different task flows of where you might have been in the product and how you sort of move forward, right? Let me start with dashboards. Who doesn't love some good old dashboards? And I did click on it. I'll pick this full stack observability dashboard. Again, these are all demo environments, all right? A bunch of random information here. Let's scroll down to see some time series charts. How about this slow applications trend chart? Seems as good as any, right? Mm-hmm. Now, normally, if I saw this chart, I go, oh, I want to alert when the fulfillment service is high, right? I'd have to go back over into alerts and recreate that. Nah, forget it. Not going to do it. Now here, you look at the action menu here of a dashboard, of a chart. And this is a model you'll see through most of New Relic 1. I have to say most still, because there are still some charts that are using our older charting libraries that don't have this yet, but they will be evolving into the newer libraries. So it will, all those gaps will be filled soon. But here, just go down to create alert condition. And right there, using the sort of New Relic 1 model of stacked pages, you are now in the alert condition. So creation. You didn't have to know your NURQL condition, your NURQL query. Now, granted, this one's a simple one, but still, you're not starting from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a simple name. I'm just say delete me, if I can spell it right. Delete me, transaction duration. I don't know. Transaction duration. Get the stage fright for my spelling. Here's your signal, like we just saw a little bit ago, slightly different view of it. And now we get back into the thing that Nika sort of worried about, static threshold again. I don't know what I'm doing here, right? I don't know what I'm setting, still more daunting. So the recommendation is to choose baseline, and we will be moving baseline to be the primary choice, the default choice. And think of baseline as a dynamic threshold versus a static threshold, right?
Wait, I was wondering if you could kind of like explain the difference between static baseline and the other one. I forgot outlier.
Yeah. Yep. So 3 types of threshold types now. Static, where you're saying, here is a line. When this signal goes above that line,
Yeah. If
for
you
X number
know
period,
that
create
a
a violation.
metric you're getting is the total time it takes to load for a user, or a huge, like 95% of that time, you can totally say, hey, if it gets to me more than 10 seconds, I know people are going to be closing my app, going to a different page. So I just know more than 10 seconds, alert me, right? For something like, hey, memory percentage, right? 99%, always 99 is always the time, right? But for a bunch of other measurements, things like response time on a database, it's currently coming back in 25 milliseconds. Well, what's a good number? What's a bad number?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, this is a really key piece, is to be able to say that for most things, you're going to come back and say those static thresholds that you set, like a really common one is you find someone monitoring memory like in kilobytes, right? And they said either, set off this big alarm when it gets above this level, and now you upgraded the memory. And so you get all these crazy alerts when you're like using 25% of your memory when you really wish you hadn't. Or, for some other reason, you don't get alerts at all because you're not over this like base number, even though you've climbed by 98% in the last 5 minutes, right? And you really should be getting an alert. So this is sort of the varying strategy. So wait, baseline and outlier, help me out. Well, wait, baseline's got to be standard deviations, right?
Yes. So baseline, what we do, it is a prediction model where we keep track of the last currently 3 weeks of your data, right? And we use that input, pick a particular model, forecasting model, and we forecast what the next data point should be. Right? And then what we're saying is how many standard deviations between what we predicted and what the data point actually came in should be used for the confidence band around that data point. And if it exceeds that confidence band, then that triggers a violation of that threshold. Right? So it's dynamic. It's using your past history to predict future behavior. It supports seasonality, and it's just telling you when things went beyond what we thought they should be. Simple. The only thing that you have to deal with is this slider of more or less standard deviations, and I'll show you that in 1 second. An outlier is really about looking at a group of signals. If you have a cluster, 100 nodes in a cluster, and what you want to be told is, hey, tell me if one of those members of the cluster starts behaving abnormal compared to its peers. Right? And then you'll probably use a different sort of query to figure out which one of those are actually the problem and dig in a little more deeply.
Oh, we lost.
Yeah.
We lost.
I'm back.
Hello, video compositing. We're back. We're good. We're back.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And so what we've done now, it used to be until just 2 months ago that you could not use the facet keyword in your NURQL queries if you use the baseline signal because it works on individual signals. And that was prohibiting us from having more customers adopt this sort of easy to use anomaly detection oriented detection to add this level of monitoring to all their signals. Right, you had to go kind of into the static threshold world, and that became daunting. And again, more people would abort that flow. So now we are pushing baseline threshold detection as the primary format. And then here, what's going to tell you is, okay, here is all your signals. Now you need to select a time series to view the individual baseline. So let's look at that weird one there. That's Tower Portland. Let's click on that one. And here, what we're really being asked is use this slider to pick the number of standard deviations. On the far left, you'll have more violations. On the far right, you'll have fewer violations, right? The bands will get larger as you drag that bar out.
Yeah, and the preview shows you when in the past few hours, an alert would have been generated.
Yes.
I really like the way it's zooming. That's really, really clear. I love that.
Yeah, and if I wasn't zoomed in so much, you'd see more on the screen here. So apologize for the keyhole view. But try to make it simple. So you, in context, create alert condition from here. You drag that bar to say, oh, that seems about the behavior I want. And then it used to be you had to pick a policy before you created alert condition. And that may have been a question being asked before you're ready to answer it. So here we say, select an existing policy that, this is the telco, mobile, Android, whatever. Again, I'll just pollute everybody's environments here. And then you say, save it. That's it, right? And it tells you this thing was created. You can click here to view your condition. That was just created.
And this, of course, takes us off over into like alerts right? And AI, which makes sense.
In context. And it you can go and edit it as much as you want. But that was it. I created a baseline alert condition for covering all of my apps, watching for average duration with a couple clicks and really not much detailed questions being asked of me.
Yeah, this is amazing because before you'd have to
that's the first sort of exemplar there. And that whole period of time, I didn't type any NRQL queries, right? Either simple ones or complex ones. Now, if you're used to working more in APM directly, right? Let's take a look back at the services view of APM. Let's go back to our same view here, Proxy West. Yeah, my clicks aren't working very well over here. And so here, when we're working with these pages, some of these pages have interesting, I'm on the show new view. It looked different as I was zoomed in this far. We'll have simple queries like this throughput query here, right? And then again, click on it, create alert condition if I wanted to create an alert off of throughput. Same information, same flow. I won't walk through it there. Now, sometimes a query will actually have multiple metrics being returned. Like this one here, there's actually 4 metrics being cast to one chart.
So Sean and Idaho
when we go through this process here and say view query,
Sean and Idaho
a little more complicated
on the chat. Can you all hear me okay?
Then
yeah, I can hear
action menu, create alert condition from here.
I don't think Brian can hear
It's actually going to give you a bit of a warning. It's going to say, well, sorry, alerts have to be based off of one metric. How does that one metric want to work? And this is coming back saying that there are multiple queries in the same view. So here, multiple metrics being returned. So here you do have to make some modifications and delete all the other metrics being returned back to simplify the query a bit. Again, this is the first iteration of this process. We'll be making some of these interaction points a little more seamless or add some helper flows in that process. But here, once you simplify that query down to one metric, you're back in the normal flow we just talked about, right? In some situations here where there are multiple queries on the same view, is this one of them here? No, that's multiple metrics. Sometimes if there's multiple queries in the same table, then it will ask you to pick which query you want to create the condition off of, which I thought was one of these here, but I guess not. Here, all errors versus web errors. I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm clicking on over here. Where is it here? All errors versus
web
got
a good head of steam. We'll get his audio going in a sec.
Has the screen is this big. Right here it has multiple queries, and I'll ask you to select which query it is. And here we'll say where this is transaction type of web. That's what we want. So select the query. Again, back in the flow. Answer specific questions about static thresholding or choose baselining. There we got a little error. Classic. Keep moving like it never happened. And again, that is if you want to create alerts from experiences that you're already in. All right. Let me know if you have any questions or thoughts there.
Yeah, Brian, I don't think you can hear us, bud.
That makes so much sense. Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Now?
But I thought my audio was not working when I tried to like have a comment.
I'm still gonna tell the funny story about Jemiah again now because it's such a perfect opportunity. Brian, can you hear us now? Well, I'm gonna tell this funny story while Brian fixes his audio, which is Jemiah is an amazing and like super confident and smart advocate for devs and in the Relic org. And one day we got in the meeting, it was just like four of us, and Jemiah's mic was off. Like his AirPods had died, and he was talking throughout the meeting, but we didn't hear any of it. It got to be like 20 minutes in, and I made some like flippant joke about like, what were you, the middle child? You used to just people talking over you, and he's like, yes, I am. And I felt so bad. And I felt so bad. It was so real.
Don't hate on my buddy Jemiah. Jemiah's my fave. Okay. If anyone hurts Jemiah, I'll be really sad.
Yeah, Jemiah is the absolute best. We're gonna give Brian just another second to get the audio up, or we may actually be closing up because this is a really cool demo. But we may gotta go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and
Thanks, Brian, for your segment, and I hope that your AirPods are not dead.
Little request in there, Mia. Whatever sort of deity figure you have ticked off, like let's get to work on that. Mia, let's go ahead and go to be right back. All right. Okay, Brian can hear us again. Little fade out there with a little technical snafu, but Brian's back. Everyone, never buy Apple AirPods. They are some kind of government operation to make you look foolish.
Yes.
I like them because they look like bean sprouts.
See, I think that might be why I never bought them, because I think I would just be too interested in putting them in my mouth. I think that it would just be like, you just slip it.
They're not.
Wow, that took an odd turn. Wow, okay.
Take a little bite. Remember when that post was going around telling it's like the forbidden snacks? It's like a scoop of hot molten glass and like D20s, Dungeons and Dragons dice. They're all pretty. You're like, I just want to take a little bite of that.
I think that's before my time, honestly. But that sounds fun.
That Tumblr post is the thing that started the Tide Pods thing, because that was one on the list of like the forbidden snacks that we all just want to take a tiny bite of. But that was not actually what our segment was about. Brian, thank you so much for coming and giving us a guide to looking at anomalies. Now, for someone to get started, what would you recommend being kind of the first step to try and explore this feature?
Yeah, exactly. If you have not created an alert condition, especially, we want you to go into the part of the product where you are most comfortable, right? Whether it be the query builder or a chart you're already working with, find that little ellipses, go down to create alert condition, make your first one, right? Get your entities involved in incident response.
It's so easy to get started, What's stopping you? Nothing. So you should go do it.
I would strongly recommend, my biggest tip always with looking at any kind of like, anomaly detection is start with just generating messages out to like a Slack channel, right? Yeah. Don't even invite people first, right? Just go and look at it yourself. And when you know something, when you're getting a human signal, oh, is this down? What's going on? Go click over to that Slack channel and be like, hey, what have been the recent alerts, right? Sort of check out a little bit, see if it's starting to show you patterns that you find interesting, and obviously give it some feedback. If the system's some feedback, it's like, hey, this anomaly was not useful. Work through some configuration. That's a great place to start. You probably don't want to start with, this sets off a klaxon in my bedroom based on anomaly detection. You probably don't want to do that with manual alerts either, right? Think about, set some boundaries, have some work-life balance. But yeah, but I recommend doing a silent delivery notification and then just sorting through it for a couple of weeks as a great place to start. Brian, do you have other stuff you want to plug or other things you'd like people to do?
No, you can check out my dance routines on TikTok at. Lost my audio again. Sorry.
Sorry, cut out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh shoot. Okay.
Yeah, almost there.
I just want everybody to start getting involved. That's all.
For me, check out Serverless Mom on TikTok. I do little TikToks about software stuff. we were talking about making new video segments. Someone was like, well, we can't talk about a feature in a minute. And I was like, well, I just talked about regex in 15 seconds. I think it's possible. I think it's possible.
And I am too mentally old to understand TikTok. So I do not have a TikTok yet.
Yes. That's good. TikTok, very much like Twitter, is one of those ones where when someone says they don't have an account, I'm like, yes, good for you.
I don't believe anyone doesn't
mentally healthier than I am. You know?
Yeah, I feel like everyone that I know has a TikTok that they spend like at least 5 hours a day on it.
For me, it's very much it's something you learn a little bit about getting older is I'm getting more and more exposed to the idea of like mental energy. Like I exercise, I have physical energy. I'm not like physically usually very tired, but there just comes a point where you're like, I can't think about anything anymore. And that's the time when I go and lie down on my side and scroll through TikTok, because it requires no mental energy on my part. That's a great way to end this segment on smart alerting. Brian, thank you so much for coming out. Everybody do follow us on the Nerd Log every Thursday. If you're watching this on YouTube, look for some links down the bottom, some documentation and other good stuff. And yeah, thanks so much for coming.
Bye.
Bye.